Mr. and Mrs. America, all the ships at sea. All right, real quick. There's a lot of finger pointing going on right now. It has a lot to do with what's going on with the real estate market and the economy on the whole, right? And yes, the economy has been poised for a recession. We've been in kind of a recession. The car market, the automotive market has been hurting for a bit. I hear about a lot of layoffs. So the tech market's hurting. I know like the memory market's hurting right now. It's all cyclical, and I'm going to sneeze, so hang on. Excuse me. So you can't pin it down to just one thing. And as I state, the hurried rise in interest rates hurt the housing market. It's true. But it was actually a good thing because we were getting so out of control, so crazy out of control. People were doing whatever they could to buy a house in the frenzy that was the 2021 housing market. It was a firestorm. It wasn't even a hot market. It was so hot, it was melting everything around it. People were putting $400,000 over list price as is. You can live in my new house for 3 more months over whatever we agreed to. Here's my firstborn baby. It's crazy, right? It was true. It was crazy. And, we wrote it, and what we could do is what we could do. It hurt the buyers, it helped the sellers, but if you're moving from one place to another, it hurts you as well. It didn't hurt as bad, but you're still paying a premium on everything. You're paying more for closing costs, you're paying more for selling costs, you're paying more for property tax, you're paying more all the way around. And I've spoken about this slide right here, right? If you sell in a hot market, yeah, you get a higher sales price, but you also have a higher selling cost. If you're buying a larger house, you have more competition, you still have to pay a premium. There's always the fear of the appraisal gap. And as is, meaning no contingency, there's no loan or appraisal contingency. I just released loan and appraisal contingency after 10 days, I think, on a house that I'm buying. We actually had that in there. 4 years ago, that was unheard of. That wasn't, if you did that, your offer was not going to get accepted, right? No repairs, as is, higher closing costs, higher property taxes. And granted, this is before the NAR lawsuit, so you had to negotiate buyer agent fees or commissions or what have you. When you sell in a cool market, you sell the house. Yeah, it might be a little bit lower. But you also have lower selling costs, and you can buy a larger home, and it means you have less competition. That means you don't have to pay $400,000 over list price. If you're smart, you can lower that price as well, but you can also ask for contingencies and concessions, C&Cs. You can have your appraisal and your loan and your property and the need to sell your house contingencies in place so you're protected as a buyer. So it makes a lot more sense right now to buy it. Yes, it's more expensive to buy it, but if you didn't buy 4 years ago, you didn't step up to the plate then. If you step up to the plate now, it'll be a lot easier. There's a lot less competition, right? So this whole thing goes into percentages and numbers and blah, blah, blah. But the most important thing is the fast ascent of the mortgage rate has really hurt the real estate market. We're still expecting an increase of 6% in 2025 and 11% in 2026. I think that's numbers. I think that's actual numbers, because last year was pretty dismal. When it comes to housing market, you can explain the audience, your past clients are all happy, but for new home buyers, their monthly payment obligation has increased, and that's what's killing the housing market. It's not killing the housing market, it's bringing it back to normal. It's bringing it back to normal. For far too long, for too many decades, we've had a seller's market, and the sellers have high expectations, and they get frivolous ideas in their head, thinking that their house is worth so much more money because that's what their same house down the street sold for 6 months ago. Well, things are changing now, right? We're seeing a little bit of contraction, a little bit of buyer hesitation, and buyers are being picky, right? So, I always tell you, this is what you should do. I'm not going to make you do it. You should take care of the curb appeal, paint your house, make it look pretty, make it look like the buyer's ready to move in. If you come in and show this house at a premium price and it needs new everything, the buyers are going to go, well, I can buy this house for $1.8 million and I have to put in a new kitchen, new floors, new blah, blah, blah. Or I can just move into this house for 1.7. It just, and buyers don't just look at the comps that we provide, right? When we give you comps, it's the exact same bedroom count, or maybe one or two more, depending on if it's a larger house or smaller house, and then a 10% variance in the square footage, and then a 1 mile radius of that house. So it's a very myopic, very focused, centralist look at what your house is really selling for. But what we don't do is look at the entire market based on that price range and that bedroom count. And I call that the 500-foot view. So I always go out and show you what's out there so you have realistic expectations of, oh, wow, that's okay. So really, even though these two houses sold for more, maybe they had brand new kitchens or new roof or brand new paint everywhere. The buyers are willing to pay for that. So maybe I should readjust my pricing expectation. So just be careful with that, right? All right, so distressed house of the week. This is Monroe, and I think I've spoken about it before. It's 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath. This is 930 Monroe. Let me get out of here so that, actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to move it over here. There. So I get right in the light of the sun. Maybe I can adjust this here. No, of course not. Right there. Of course not. Okay, I tried. This is an older house. This is a 120-year-old house, still selling for $1.8 million. And it's right downtown Santa Clara Street, or Santa Clara. This is, why am I here? 40 days on market. Oh, well, let's just go here. Let's take a quick look inside, and there you go. It's old. A couple of days ago, if you're watching this, a couple of days ago, I sent out a photo, a little picture that described the different types of roofs. Tell me what kind of roof line this is. It's very unique. So everything's been updated over the last 120 years, but this looks like it was updated back in the 90s, maybe. Can't really tell. So it's an older house. It looks like it's in pretty good shape, but it's a bank-owned property, meaning you're buying this as is. They won't agree to repairs. You can do your inspections, which we always say you should do inspections, but there you go. Okay, 40 days on market. I wanted to pop this off real quick. Just go random. Let's take a look at this house. Okay, this is 5-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,300 square feet, listed at $2.3 million. Been on market almost 60 days, almost 2 months. Right? And they have to lower the price. Why? Because they're not attracting the market. They tried to. This is right here, right in our area, right? This is La Colina Park. I live right here. This house has been on market 60 days. It's hurting the market. Why? Well, maybe they updated it. Maybe they did the box brownie photos, which, sometimes I'll do that, but I'm not a fan of them. and everything looks like it's updated and nice, pretty looking. But 2.3 for a house that's, it's a corner lot on Madison, which is close to Santa Teresa. 2.3, that's high expectations right there, right? I think that's just overreaching. And this is the ADU. So you have an ADU as well, which means how many bedrooms? 5 bedrooms. So it's standardly a 3-bedroom, and then the other. See, he didn't put an ADU in there. Huh. Okay, well, anyway, there you go. Something to look at. If you're interested in that, let me know, because it has an ADU. You could put your kids in there or what have you if you want to pay $2 million for that house. Okay, and this is Cupertino House of the Week. It's a townhouse for $1.2 million. And it's 1986. 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,393 square feet. The good news is it's right by Apple, so you can actually walk across the street and get to your job. You can walk to work if you wanted to, if that's something you want to do. We could take a quick look at the pictures. The funny thing is why did they put the living room as the first picture? Well, I'll tell you, and there's a little hint right there. Don't know if you can see it, but we'll go all the way down, and that's why. We call that fugly. The HOA is so out of control that they don't want to update the house. Get rid of that, put new siding on. That's ugly. Nobody likes that. And it's a 1-car garage. Well, so that's what you get. 1986 townhouse mindset. That's what you get, right? Originally, it was listed at 1.3. Now it's down to 1.2. How many days on market? 42. Realistic price expectations, guys, right? Our market is slowing down. It's slowing down. We're in the summer. March, April was a good couple months. Now we're seeing people go, you know what? I have graduation. My kids are graduating today. They're doing the little walk across the stage thing. So I have my aunt and my mom here, and we're doing all that stuff. But it's just, the last thing I'm thinking about is moving, right? Except for the fact that I have to go to a meeting at 11 o'clock. So here's something about curb appeal. Lawn, if you decide to keep a lawn, it constantly needs attention, right? You need to aerate it. You need to manicure it. You need to make sure that there's pest control. Yes, you have to spray for pests, right? And you have to mulch and prune. When you go dormant, you have to drop some mulching on it so that the microbiomes absorb the mulch and make the lawn healthier. It's a constant process of dealing with it. You can't just put grass out there and mow it once a week, right? So understand that a lawn is a high maintenance product. And I have grass in the front and I have grass in the back. But if I had my druthers, I would put low maintenance ground cover on it, just to make sure that I don't have to deal with anything. And I would water it once in a while. There's a ton of different types of plants that you can use, but people expect lawns. It's kind of a weird thing, but it's true. All right, 40 days on market report. Here's the charts. We're climbing a little bit in the 40 days on market, but we're staying pretty stable in the 90 days on market. So after 40 days, we're seeing consumption happen a little bit more. People are taking my advice and saying, I'm just going to wait until I see a house that's a little bit more desperate to sell, which means it's decreased their price, or they're trying to find the right buyer, or they're not in a hurry, but they are in a hurry. So take my advice is when you buy a house that's been on market for a bit, because they're looking a little bit desperate, right? Even if they have an adjusted price, adjusted the price and it's been on market 40, 50, 60 days, it means the prices needs to come down, and a buyer can come in there and negotiate that down a little bit. And bank owns were pretty nominal. There's nothing jumping up here. So this was a spike. I have to go back and fix that. And then the red one, the green and the yellow. So nothing's spiking up for that. For San Jose, we're looking at a slight decrease in, we were seeing inventory tick up, which was great since January. We're seeing that, and this is absolutely what we need, but we need to get past the 800 unit mark in order for it to come closer to a balanced market. I almost say that we're in a balanced market right now because buyers are being picky. Buyers are negotiating. These are all reports that I've read you over the last couple of weeks. Buyers are getting concessions. 44% of the buyers across the sample of houses that they were looking at received concessions. So it's the same thing here. We need to be about 1,800 to be a balanced market in Santa Clara County, but we're kind of leveling off right now. So we're not where we need to be, but because the market's taking longer to sell, I think we're seeing it become more of a balanced market. Now, my rule of thumb was just an arbitrary number. I've said that multiple times. So maybe 1,500 is the balanced market that we're looking for. It's not a seller's market, not a buyer's market, but there you go. All right, that's it for now. To all the kids at Santa Teresa, all the seniors at Santa Teresa High School, congratulations. You made it through 4 years of Santa Teresa High School. Can say it was real, can say it was fun, can't say it was real fun. I used that when I was in high school. Hey, I'm Vito with Abitano. Thanks for watching. We'll see you out there.